Let's give a huge round of applause for our poets. Wow, what an incredible way to start day 2. I am so excited to announce our next group of readers from CavanKerry Press. A little bit about CavanKerry Press. CavanKerry Press's mission is in our commitment to expanding the reach of poetry to a general readership by publishing works that explore the emotional and psychological landscapes of everyday life. Founded in 2000 by Joan Cusack-Handler and Florence Eisman, CavanKerry began with the aim to mystify poetry. While publishing books is our reason for being, CavanKerry has a deep commitment to connecting with the community. Since its inception in 2000, CavanKerry's mission has included the creation of programs that bring our books and writers to diverse audiences where they live, work, and receive services. Now, everyone, please give a huge round of applause to CavanKerry Press. Woo!
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Gabriel Cleveland. I'm the managing editor and director of CavanKerry Press. We believe that books have the power to bridge the gaps between the worlds of our authors and the worlds of their readers to encourage connection, compassion, and understanding. I'm happy to introduce 3 of our phenomenal poets whose work does just that. First, we will have Richard Jeffrey Newman, who's a writer who maps his search for tenderness and care in a world colored by his personal experience of childhood sexual violation. A writer whose words are honest, forthright, and ever striving to encourage the proliferation of goodness in himself and those around him, and a much-needed voice for both accountability and resilience. After that, we will have Harriet Levin Millan, whose work is a deep meditation on the cost and reward of making art, as well as an exploration of how engaging with creativity affects our relationships with those around us and opens up new possibilities for self-discovery. Her poems simmer with yearning and an inner determination, as well as a careful eye for the fine details that comprise an artful life. And finally, Martin Wiley speaks with the chorus of a 1,000-track playlist, his voice reverberating backbeats and harmonies to capture in intimate detail the challenges and triumphs of living outside the preset lines of society and what it takes and takes from you to come of age in an environment that scorns you for daring to claim your right to exist. It has been CavanKerry's privilege to publish each of these fine authors, and now it's my honor to introduce Richard Jeffrey Newman.
Thank you, Gabe. You know, it was really quite remarkable that CavanKerry invited me to be part of this reading. The Silence of Men was published almost 20 years ago, in 2006, and I had not really revisited these poems in a long time, and so it was a good opportunity to do that, and so I'm just going to read them. I always start my readings these days with a love poem. This poem is called Light. In the dream, my life was smoke. I couldn't breathe. So I ran, unwrapping myself down the beach till your skin, the ocean, lapped at my knees. I dove in. Your voice was a current, a melody gathering words to itself for us to sing, and we sang them. And they swirled around us, iridescent fish, bringing light to the world you were for me. And then I was water, a river washing the night from your flesh, and I cradled your body rising in me till you were clean, glowing. And when you surfaced, glistening, there was not an inch of you I didn't cling to. This is the title poem, The Silence of Men. A man I've never dreamed before walks into my apartment and sits in the green chair where I do my writing. He carries in his left hand a large, erect penis, which he places silently on the floor. The phallus begins to waltz to music I cannot hear. Its scrotum, a skirt, its testicles, legs cut off at the knees. I want to know why this disfigured manhood has been brought to me. I look up, but my guest is gone. His organ, deflating in short spasms like an old man coughing, spreads itself in a pool of shallow blood. The silence between us is the silence of men. As Gabe said, the poems in this book kind of emerged from my experience of childhood sexual violence, and so I'd like to read a poem called The Taste of a Little Boy's Trust. Snow still falling this late, when each house framed by the window above my desk is dark, and even my wife's breathing has grown indistinguishable from the quiet. Snow still falling as a truck rolls by, big cat svelte on 18 wheels, orange running lights spreading up and down my block, a Halloween glow in mid-December, like a space vessel landing, bringing me the boy I was, standing in the courtyard, searching the descending whiteness for the shapes of ships I longed to fly away on. Snow still falling this late when I could be sleeping the way I should have been, the night I saw my mother nude and her friend on his back, and them both too slow to hide what they were doing. And I told my brother, and we tried it, and we tried to understand why grown-ups did it. How could you let someone pee in your mouth? Snow still falling this late is the whisper we tried to laugh in. Breath, the old man dropped, syllable, when? By syllable, will I see you into my ear? And I couldn't move, wouldn't. And so it wasn't me who followed him upstairs, who listened to the lock click shut in the door. And it wasn't me whose belt he unbuckled, and when his pants joined mine on the floor, it wasn't me he pled with, whose head he used both hands to pull towards him when I balked, whose mind at this moment always whites out, until it wasn't me who unlocked the door and walked to where the snow is still falling, as if even now he waited in the apartment above mine. And no matter how many times my brother asks, I won't go out, not even to be first sled down a virgin hill of the season's new snow. I'll read two more, and I'll make them love poems, because we should change the mood after that. This poem is called After Drought. This poem is called After Drought. Knees rooted in the bed on either side of your belly. My body's a stalk of wheat bent in summer wind. A bamboo shoot rising, an orchid, and then all at once a cloud swelling, a swallow sculpting air, a freed white dove. You pull me down, but you are hot beneath me, and the gust that is my own heat lifts me away. I'm not ready. Outside, footsteps, voices, two men. Giggling, we pull the sheet around us till they pass, but if someone does see, what will they have seen? A couple making love. No, more than that. They will have seen the coming of the rain. They will have seen us bathe in it, and they will say, Amen. And I'll read this last poem because even though I wrote it long before the pandemic and long before anything like Zoom was possible, it is a poem I think that speaks to the experience of the pandemic and what it was like to be separated from people whom you love. Because I refuse to learn to say goodbye, these words. But because they are not my skin, and because my fingers are not syllables, and because your voice on the phone is not breath I can take into my mouth and taste, and the phone, when we speak, is not your body in my arms, or your hand lifting my chin so our eyes meet when you say, I love you. And because when I imagine your hand lifting my chin, I want to live within that moment with you the way language lives within us, I am here, wrestling these lines into form. And because the form is me when you read it, I'll be there and we'll touch. Thank you so very much.
Okay, my name is Harriet Levin, and the theme is definitely sexual violence that I am going to finish and pick up on. I'm the author of 3 books. My CavanKerry book is for sale over there, but I'm going to start with a poem from my first book, The Christmas Show. Can you hear me? Did people hear what I said? Okay. The Christmas Show. While my youngest sister lies on a cold cellar floor in a house whose broken windows hold back nothing, and 3 boys pin down her shoulders and force their way past her belt buckle, I am watching The Christmas Show at Radio City Music Hall, seeing a full moon accentuate the otherworldliness of children dressed as elves, skating snowmen, and cardboard reindeer. While my youngest sister lies on her back stripped naked, and 3 boys, one at a time, move over her, I am applauding when an entire row of girls wearing bright red bathing suits, fleeced with white fur, kick open their legs. The whole house applauds at that moment. While my youngest sister looks into the dark, wide pupils she will look into for the rest of her life, the boys who prick her throat with a knife feel only a momentary pleasure. And just when I think the Christmas show is over, the curtain opens once more with sheep, straw, and stars, and the story of the nativity begins, of a birth with no sex in it. A real live camel is led across the stage in a caravan with sheiks, children, and beggars waiting to be touched and saved. But at that moment, my mother is rushing to open the front door. My sister pounds and pounds on. Blood on her face, her lips swollen, her cheeks swollen, her eyes swollen, having seen enough. This next one, of course, picks up the theme, maybe in the title. It's called A Lens. It's as if she can't stop seeing existence through the lens of rape. Doesn't she have anything else to write about? Things, for instance, that if looked at objectively, or if refracted, could bend their properties, change states like water, evaporate and dissolve, endure extreme fluctuations in temperature on a faraway planet, yet retain their elementary bonds well enough to demonstrate the eviscerating. Violence doesn't evolve. Its fists and neck-choking hands do not follow the evolutionary chain. So don't waste beautiful imagery describing monsters that snap like the short end of the wishbone, never the half that makes the wish. They rip through tendons. She ought to write about someone who greets with more decorum, leans over a table, learns to balance water chestnuts on chopsticks, insulates egg after egg with layers of Ghirardelli foil to form something distinctive from crown to rump, bipedal, feathered, something glorious like a phoenix rising above fire escapes and rising over the city, blazing with more light and heat than the jangle of lights below. She must be doing it because she wants to be gangbang, fucked like a Yanomami girl, legs bent so far back they refract like water in a glass among the unreflecting panes of glass in a house in an entire neighborhood of glass. So that's what's for my second book. And the third book, my CavanKerry book that's for sale over there, my oceanography, picks up on the theme through the persona poems of the sculptor Eva Hesse. Judgment. Everybody could see it, but it was you who dropped your eyes over the page to roam around the drawing. You grinned and cocked your head. Nothing. I don't see anything. You turned the page sideways as if to correct it. Nothing, you repeated. A dime sparkled on the floor. I picked it up before you did and hurled the money, insignificant as it appeared, thrown or simply underfoot. No more value given to the things I make. I pulled the sketchbook out of your hands and carried it across the room, turning the page clockwise and close up for a different time zone and sunlit sky, mumbling loud enough for you to hear. How dare you? How dare you? Bring around a Rosie. You targeted me and forced my extinction, drew circles around the parts of my body where you dared to aim. My neck, my wrist, my breast. How could I escape your asteroid come hurtling? Too much of my history is etched in stone. Like lichen or mica, you subsumed even the shadow and sealed over the crevices where I roamed. You drove long stretches of highway and read my desires in strip mining, my sins exposed, determining where to dig into the sediments repository of old arguments. Jaw hardened, fist banging down, you did not say wait or anything else that broke into words of love, because you wanted to render a bee's hover and extract my DNA. Your artist's eye trained on the darkest night, nothing but a chisel to pick away. Standing on top of that airless promontory, bending over the rift to find a trace. Measure my primitive atmosphere, preserve my dusky voice under glass. I'm going to end with a poem called Ishtar. Here it is. You made me see sleek alligator advances, made me sleep, made me slough through my own deep brown hair, more machine than flesh. Road washed out by rain, all winter seeping. Your hand on my knee set off alarms, guards wielding pistols, dragging you to a dark, damp cell where you do not emerge walking upright until after 4 billion years to build a dugout canoe and mud brick, your ears trembling with vibrations no one else can detect, thinking you know all the meaning in the world, from featherweights in a ring, a camel's hump, or bitumen leaking to the surface of a bubbling tar pit. You took such big breaths when you climbed on top of me, your lips demanding my commandeered head, or you locked me in a soundproof prison, no one hearing the noise I made to melt a glacier and expose a seashell. You cannot imagine that rocky place. It could have been different. You could have stopped shocking me into life as you paced the carpet. You, barefoot, and me forced to wear heels. My leg shaft, my hamstrings torn. I hated it when you called me Galatea, hand-fed me candy corn left over from Halloween, shaped like a bullet grazing my head. A night can be backfire's tambour, or an argument no one's willing to towel off. Times I walk the creek and cup chameleons, proof of what defenses nature gives lungs. Give me this. Sea currents, sea cliffs, a plunge so deep I reach the dead. I know how you mourn for me. Your sculptures bring in cash, 6 or 8 of them at a time. Me stuck in your studio with my breasts exposed, scavenging for food. Another invertebrate without a backbone. My arms hollow feeling, covered in spines. If I didn't pose for you, you'd find someone else with smoother skin to worship and become your lover, while I stand at the 11th gate, denied my birth in Seafoam. You, who have spilled crude, I believed at first to be accidental, then lies, absorbing infrared like those grotesque frogs spawned in excess nitrogen no one will ever kiss. I stand in your steamy breath's red tide. Unlike those gaudy rubies you threw at me, I cannot pawn its fumes, rubbing the shore to live. It destroys everything. I wait for light, cast in translucence, a single stem in a glass, bursting until it flowers.
All right, my name is Martin Wiley. My book is When Did We Stop Being Cute? You can get it at CavanKerry Press. I got 2 poems. I'm going to go through them quick. Past the days of yes y'allin'. It was 2 Live Crew, of course, that taught me it was actually okay to like Bruce Springsteen. Fighting against the current on the way to second period biology, I felt a quick tug. Pete had snagged my arm, but he shouldn't have been there. Everyone knew he never missed history on the other side of the school, yet there he was, waiting. In his hand, a tape. There was a power once in tapes. Battered, worn, outer shell scratched, faded, yet the word Megadeth remained clear as day. He held it out to me. Now, I prefer not to be rude to a friend, but you know, Megadeth. I wasn't really looking to listen to regular death, so this felt like a little much. Yo, man, he said, you gotta listen to this. The right to be angry is the most American thing anyone can claim. Everything else is born from that. It is the very reason we want our guns or our speech protected. More than a flag, more than a song, this is what brings us together, what makes us one. Get down for the prophets of rain. He thrust that tape into my hand, and I could see that those little tabs at the top had been pierced, ruptured, conquered. What is it? He only shook his head, and just like that, he was gone. Clear the way for the prophets of rain. In the summer of 1990, 3 members of 2 Live Crew were pulled off stage and arrested when they played at a sex club. Officially, they were charged with obscenity for music performed at a sex club. That might be the greatest sentence I will ever write. When I finally got around to homework that evening, I threw Pete's tape on, figuring since I was already doing algebra, when nothing else could make it any worse. No work got done that night. It takes a nation of millions. The music was like bug repellent for parrots, a screeching whine that repeated endlessly, effortlessly. The loop was the meaning was in the loop. I mean, the album started with a goddamn air raid siren, a warning, a call and response that flicks something buried within cultural DNA. It's like that. I'm like, man, leave me the hell alone. If you don't think I'm a brother, check the chromosomes. It is an inconvenient truth that free speech can be attacked on all sides when a right-wing Florida DA locked arms with a Democratic soon-to-be vice president's wife to lock up some black dudes for singing about butts. The surreality of strange bedfellows goes both ways, however. And in July 1990, 2 Live Crew released Banned in the USA, notable as the first album to come equipped with a parental advisory sticker. You have to understand, the title track drove white people in Jersey fucking insane. I played Pete's tape, flipped it, played it. The loop was the meaning was hidden in the loop. Stereo describes my scenario. You see, this was Bruce. The poet of the Parkway, the god whose words united Wall Street commuters with Meadowlands tailgaters, who traced a sacred lineage from Dylan all the way back to Whitman, but better, more real than either of them could hope to be. A man of the people. And we all knew which people. My friends and I basked in the outrage of all those who screamed their love for Jersey Jesus and shrieked their horror that some no-talent blacks had taken sacred tracks and turned them into some weird anti-American defense of perversion. Finally, we thought, the music of the people who refused to hire us, who labeled me zebra or half-breed, who didn't bother to hide their disbelief when we aced their math tests, who assumed we cheated when we bested their kids' SAT scores. Finally, for once, the music of the people who hated everything about us would be used to speak for us. And then, Kurt Loder, MTV News, interrupting Yo MTV Raps to report on the controversy, read a statement from the boss himself. Anyone who doesn't support Two Live Crew's use of Born in the USA, obviously never listened to my music anyway. Now in those days, MTV still played music. And when the time allotted to hip hop was over, they went straight to the video. Bruce, in concert, Born in the USA. And for the very first time, my friends and I, listen. Alright, last one. We still play our little games. America, you've given me all and now I'm nothing. America, I used to be your bastard. I'm not sorry. Outside biology, I finally caught up with Jimmy Peterson. Some idiot nudged his shoulder and we stared each other down. This is for Pete. Snitches, stitches, I said. You know the deal. Then all around us, so much silence. I felt myself smile as I walked away. America, when will you be angelic? Pete is in East Jersey State now. I don't think he's coming back. It's sinister. America, when will we be worthy of Standing Rock? I find myself remembering Dude. A little over a year before it all ended, lunchtime. We kept a few steps back from Dude, but no one got between us in the cafeteria line. Pete made the first crack, probably about Dude's dangling earrings. We all had the left pierced because that was cool, but he had both, which you just didn't do. Dude had on a scarf, which was just about the end for me, and his nails were prettier than both girls he went everywhere with. America, are you being sinister, or is this some form of practical joke? I've given up trying to get to the point. America, free Leonard Peltier. I said, Dude wears that blouse better than my sister does. And it was all over for Jimmy Peterson, who laughed too hard to do much of anything else. Danny just watched Pete. But Dude said nothing. So we assumed they couldn't hear until the taller of the two girls turned on us and said, enough. America, this is the impression I get from looking at the Huffington Post. America, this is quite serious. It occurs to me that I, too, am America. I am yelling at myself again. But then Dude calmly took the taller of the two girls by the arm and led her towards the south. Don't even bother. The cute one whined, Anthony, and he took her arm as well. I know who I am, he said, and I like them. They're still too dumb to know they don't. America, why are your librarians full of tears? America, how can I write my screaming poem in your boring room? I know who I am, he said. They're still too dumb to know they don't. In the end, Jimmy Peterson ran. That was unexpected. A shove against the locker and Jimmy Peterson was gone. But he had never been fast. I stayed on him as we raced down hallway and hallway, and eventually he found himself stuck behind a surprisingly tiny girl playing a tuba strapped to her waist, and a very large fellow jamming along on a piccolo. America, my mind is made up. There's going to be trouble. You should have seen me reading Fanon. America, I feel sentimental about Occupy. Jimmy Peterson covered up. I got a few shots in and he took off. This time, as soon as he made it round the corner, he threw open a door and dove in. I skittered to a stop in the doorway. Jimmy Peterson silence and shock, and I turned back and straight into a screaming, hollering crowd. Fight! 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 America, stop pushing! I know what I am. I hadn't seen the crowd form, though I had been a part of so many I should have known. I had not yet been on this side before, and the greedy, straining horror of it all was complicated by the crowd's happiness, pleasure, their immediate shrieking satisfaction. America, you don't really want to go to war. There was a mirror in the back of the room, but I couldn't bear to let it look at me. America, everyone's too serious, even me, but now I can't stand my own mind, and it just makes me sick of your insane demands. The crowd was so joyous, so gleeful, so expectant, so hyped. It didn't even recognize when I snuck through, crept my way to the back, even lifted my voice once or twice just to blend in. Not one of them could tell the fighting was already over. America, after all, it is you and I who are perfect, not the next world. Even if we're both still too dumb